Okay, so Bobi Wine's family has been flown out of the country. Um, this has come about as a result of lots of harassment, lots of intimidation, and not respecting their privacy. Because Museveni is like Bokassa. Not only does he go after you, but he will also go after your family and your tribe. You see, when Bokassa ruled the Central African Republic, if you ever disagreed with him, or if at any time he didn't like you, he would go after you, go after your family, and then also go after your tribe. That is what Museveni is doing today. Now, of course, we know that these children are innocent. These 3 children that were flown out of the country yesterday, they are very innocent. They have never done anything to Museveni. They have never said anything to Museveni, right? Even you have never heard Babi abusing Museveni or saying any tough words to Museveni. But let us hear these videos first, and then we shall continue with the program.
I like you to warn you, Bobi Wines, seriously. Yenda kumukuba embo bakufa oba kutta I will kill you. Sagala muntu addamu kuzanyira ngoleeta embeera y'okuleeta ebisi yagawa Uganda. Bwe kunaaba kufanya ojja kufa nange. I'm ready to kill you, but we are not asigenda kukiriza embeera. Abo be mwakubye eggulo mwakubye batono. Mubakube tujja kukuba Bobi Wine ojja kudde wakawo nga tolaba. BBC tajja kujja. Gende nalufenya njagala baleme kuta bakone tiyagasa kuyingire otuke wa bwana bo busubi ne kano kakazi akaina amannyo go kungulu akatuusi mbuno kagala fukale dikalinga ensonzi obo bonna ekabutitire mwe n'abayimbi epas abo be mwakubye eggulo mwakubye batono mubakube tujja kukuba Bobi Wine ojja kudde wakawo nga tolaba. BBC tajja kujja. Gende nalufenya njagala baleme kuta bakone tiyagasa kuyingire otuke wa bwana bo busubi ne kano kakazi akaina amannyo go kungulu akatuusi mbuno kagala fukale dikalinga ensonzi obo bonna ekabutitire mwe n'abayimbi epasi nkula.
Now, like most of you have heard, those were people out there, Museveni supporters, actually NRM supporters. One of them saying that he will kill Bobi Wine. The other one saying, abusing Babi Kyagulanyi, that, the words were really bad. And then the other one saying that he will, they will kill Bobi Wine's children, that little girl known as Subi, Bobi Wine's last born. She's barely, I think, 5 years. She's around 4 or 5 years there. I mean, this is really sad that we have a country where people, do not have even the remorse they do not even try to filter the words that they use, even against young children. But we all know it doesn't come as a surprise, because Museveni doesn't see anyone as a child or anyone as a lady or anyone as a woman, or he never has that kind of filters in his head. For him, if at all you are his opponent, you are his opponent. If at all you disagree with him, you are in that category. So he will take you all up and bombard you and harass you and intimidate you. Now, of course, Bobi Wine said that he received information that the state was planning to kidnap his family, especially his children and his wife. We all have weak links in our lives, and then they wanted to kidnap them, put them on gunpoint, and make them utter statements, and also make Bobi Wine to stop whatever he is doing. Of course, this doesn't come as a surprise, because we know that Bobi Wine's entourage that he was using to campaign, over 120 people have been arrested. People like his personal bodyguards, his personal cameraman, and so on and so forth. Now also, today morning, he got a new team. It has also been arrested. So they arrest all these teams, and you think that he's not going to come after his children? Well, I think that's a good move that Bobi Wine did. Now, what is funny is this, that the people in the other side, the NRM, instead of seeing something like this and maybe crying for themselves, they were very happy and trying to warn everyone who moves around Bobi Wine. And they are saying, you guys, you are very unlucky. Look, Bobi Wine is taking his family to safety. But your families are not being taken to safety. Well, we ask two questions. Where is Bobi Wine? That he is still in the country. And where is Babi Chagulani? She is still in the country. And what else more do we need? We are not going to go to the streets. We are not going to get 3-year-olds or 6-year-olds to go and vote. We are not going to get 6-year-olds to use them as human shields. You know, we are not going to get 6-year-olds or 5-year-olds or 12-year-olds to use them as human shields, just like their boss Museveni did in the 80s during his war. But you see, what Museveni did in the 80s war, he went in Luwero, killed the families of these people, and abducted 3,000 children, brought them into the war, conscripted them by force. The kids had no choice. By force, they were conscripted into the army and made to fight. Accounts say that some of them could not even hold an AK-47. It was so heavy for them that they couldn't even hold it. And Museveni had no qualms whatsoever. That is why you see wherever he has gone to fight, he has left a trail of using child soldiers. In the Congo, Laurent Desire Kabila did the same, because Laurent was supported by Museveni. Sorry, Laurent Desire Kabila was supported by Museveni when they were taking out Mobutu Sese Seko. He recruited child soldiers. How can you do something like that? Over 3,000, the New York Times reported 3,000 child soldiers were recruited by Museveni, and 500 of those were actually girls given arms. That's what Museveni did. So you expect a person who did that to children of this country? He is the other Charles Taylor. He is the Pol Pot of Africa, conscripting 3,000 children. These were the future. These kids were the future. Now, you know what happened? The kids were put high on drugs, because they know that these kids are so young, they do not have so much information in their head, so they were indoctrinated, put on drugs and made to do heinous crimes, and used as human shields. That's what Museveni did. We have never heard about the stories of all these child soldiers, because after the war, most of them were taken out. Most of them were sent to other battlefronts and made sure that they were killed off. Taken out, no record shows who, where, and where they were buried or anything of that sort. All child soldiers out, bang, gone. And I think that's why he's afraid to leave power, because most of these things will have to surface. So, people power is not here to use child soldiers. He's not here to conscript children as young as 6 to bring them to the battlefront to make sure that they fight Museveni. No. There is enough youths in Uganda. Uganda has 80% of the population in Uganda are youths. That is over 48 million Ugandans. 80% of those people are youths. That means they are between the age of 18 to the age of 30. It means that these people have a sound mind to decide whether to join the revolution, whether to vote Museveni out of power, or stay home. They have a choice. In the 80s war, these kids had no choice. They killed their ma, they killed their da. All their parents were killed. And afterwards, the orphans were taken in and abducted by force to fight on behalf of the NRA. But here, it is 18-year-olds who are leading the revolution. It is people of sound mind. It is people who know what they want. These are not young children. So for those of the people who are coming out and saying that, oh, Bobi Wine has taken his children out, it is justified. Actually, they are more worried if they were not worried that he had taken, because what they are trying to say is, you see, people are so stupid. They are saying that, look here, Eddie Mutwe, who is Bobi Wine's bodyguard, Bobi Wine has taken his children out. So you come and join us, because he doesn't care about you. Okay, for those of you they care about, what really shows that they care about you? The last time I checked the people they cared about, the likes of Birika, I don't know where he ended up. People they cared about, the likes of Zebra Mando, I don't know where he ended up. And you know what they did? Zebra Mando's orphan, the son called Isaac Senyange, has now been taken in to finish the father's mission. Which is funny. These people are so crazy. They come and do all sorts of bad things in your house, and then afterwards they ask you to come and clean it up. So it is very fascinating, and it is interesting to me that I saw very many people were thrown into a frenzy whereby they couldn't believe it. Why would Bobi Wine leave? Why would the children leave? No, the children should stay behind so that we kill them also. These guys are, because that's what they wanted to do, definitely, to hold Bobi Wine's kids as hostages. And Bobi Wine was a step ahead, and he had to send the kids out. And of course, Bobi Wine, was going through a hard time after the battle, coming back to home and looking at his kids, looking at the young girl, looking at his son, and, not feeling very comfortable. So, now that they are out of the way, let the real revolution begin. I am actually surprised that it took him this long for these kids to stay behind, because the torment that they went through, to the extent that they said that Bobi Wine's son was sodomized. There is no opposition candidate in Uganda that has been attacked, that has been treated in a very bad way like Bobi Wine has been treated. Absolutely not. They have attacked his family, they have attacked his children, they have attacked everyone in his household. Everyone has been attacked. But all we have done is keep calm and keep peace. That's it. So these people were very, very frustrated that Bobi Wine's children left. Because they thought, we have missed now killing those ones. We have missed kidnapping them. But then, as Ugandans, we should cry for ourselves. We should cry. Do you know why? There are a lot of things that were exposed in this whole thing. And why Uganda under Museveni is going to be a very hard country to live under. You see, privacy has become a very important aspect in the world today. Companies like Facebook, companies like Google, and all these telecommunication and all these social media companies, every company has to have what we call a privacy policy, where they let their customers know that, look here, we shall not be selling your data to third-party organizations or companies. We shall not be giving your information out to the government without your consent or without your knowledge. Privacy. Very, very important. Putting all this thing aside that the kids went out, blah, 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 the big story is, how did they manage to get the flight records, the flight information of the children, number one. Secondly, getting the address of the children, where they are going to, number two. Now, I've traveled a wee bit, traveling from Uganda to maybe the UK or somewhere else, or Portugal and all these other countries. So the person who checks you in, they check out your luggage, they check your tickets and all this kind of thing. They have all that information where you're going. Those people represent the particular aircraft that you're going to use. For this case, they were using Qatar Airways. So it means the person who took a screenshot of the computer or the desk that we are using that has that computer that had all that information, that person, number one, should be arrested. Number two, they should be fired, because they breached the privacy of these young children. These are children who are leaving the country because their life was in danger. Their life being in danger, now the flight company, which is Qatar Airways, under their agents, they exposed all the information of where these people were going. And we know Museveni has made attempts to try and kill people in the diaspora and try and make sure that he intimidates them and harasses them and so on and so forth. Now, Qatar Airways has to come out and explain. How did you let your agents give out the address of one of your customers. If they do not have a sufficient explanation, and if they do not bring the person to the book, then I think I, for one, cannot feel safe to board Qatar Airways whatsoever. I might be one client, and maybe I don't make up a very big chunk of business for Qatar Airways. But if Ugandans and everyone listening to this video, if you treat your privacy to be very, very important, then I think Qatar Airways is not one aircraft you should board, because it shows that it is willing to give out your information and put it all over social media wherever you're going or wherever you're staying. That is absolutely unacceptable. Especially when you're going to these countries. If you have the exact address of an individual, you can get to their doorstep. And you never know, anyone can do whatever thing they want. There was a situation that Qatar Airways has now put this family into, is that they now have to look for a new home. They have to shift, because Museveni is likely to send people after them. So how are they going to explain that? Here in the UK, here in the US, and these countries that respect the privacy of people, Qatar Airways would be boycotted and sued out of business. You cannot do that. The customers are going to lose confidence until Qatar Airways comes out and explains to the people what really happened. If not, two things are likely to happen. Qatar Airways is going to lose business in Uganda, like other aircrafts that have left. British Airways, Etihad Airways, and then Qatar Airways will be also leaving. Then some people will be coming out, even if it leaves, blah, 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 we have Uganda Airlines. All right, you have Uganda Airlines, right? I am not going to board Uganda Airlines. I was one of the first people that said that Uganda Airlines is a sham. It's just one populist investment that the government used in order to gain a political mileage, but it has all backfired. Now, if at all they can attain information on Qatar Airways, right? How about Uganda Airlines? Before you leave the UK, before you leave Ireland, before you leave Sweden, or before you leave Dubai, the government will already know that you are on this plane, and they will be ready to catch you at the airport. So will you be boarding Uganda Airlines? And of recent, what we have seen, you don't have to be supporting the opposition. What they are doing these days, they monitor your tweets. They monitor your Facebook account. If you post anything that is critical about the government, even if you do not support them, you will have to answer at the airport. What are we now, North Korea? I mean, what are we? Have we become like this? Of course, that is what we are. We are not different from these other countries. We are absolutely not different. I cannot board Uganda Airlines. I cannot board Uganda Airlines at all. If they can do this through Qatar Airways, you just imagine what they do through Uganda Airlines. I heard they are going to have straight flights to London. I would rather board Kenya Airways, right? And I know that my information maybe is safe than boarding Uganda Airlines that is going to share its flight logo, that is going to share its flight information with the government of Uganda, trying to note different addresses and different places where different people have gone. A few years ago, a gentleman known as Haji Hussein Chanjo, a prominent Muslim parliamentarian who was very outspoken, when Chanjo stood up to speak, no one else would speak. When Chanjo stood up to explain scenarios, no one else would dare reply to him. He was on a flight. He went to South Africa in a conference. And one of Museveni's agents trailed Hussein Chanjo, the parliamentarian. Hussein Chanjo says he entered the hotel. When he entered the hotel, instantly he couldn't speak. He lost his voice. His tongue could not be lifted up. He could not lift his tongue. He panicked. Next door was a gentleman known as Hassan Kasinje, a police officer, who had traveled with them, I think. So he goes next door and tells him, making signs, can't speak. So they tried as much as they could to help him. So Chanjo didn't even attend the conference. He had to come back to Uganda, go start medical checkup and all this kind of thing. What happened next was when he went for treatment in Dubai and these other countries, England and all everywhere, they told him this only comes under two circumstances. Number one, it is hereditary. Do you have anyone in your family that has this sort of disease? Chanjo said there is absolutely no one. Then they told him the second thing is poison. That's the only way you got this kind of disease. And Hussein Chanjo was convinced that it was poison. He wouldn't have been with us today. He would not be here with us today if it wasn't for the grace of God to keep him alive, to tell his ordeal. That people trailed him up to South Africa, up to his hotel address, and had to poison him. Now tell me if at all they have your home address in the US. Tell me if at all they have your home address in the UK or Sweden or Dubai. What is going to happen? And what are they using? They are using your they are using the information that you give them on the air whenever you're boarding these airplanes. So if you do board the Uganda Airlines, what that means is that you will have nothing else left to hide. It will mean that whenever you board Uganda Airlines, you will have to change your address. The first thing you do whenever you reach the country of your destination, you have to go and change the address. You know what an address means in the Western world? If you give someone your address, it's like you have taken away all the privacy that you have. You have taken away all the privacy that you have. That is why we always have to keep our addresses secret. So Qatar Airways has to explain. I wouldn't task so much of the Civil Aviation Authority. It has its own scandals. Recently, a director of human resources at Civil Aviation Authority, on one of the buildings, they had placed Museveni's pictures all over the buildings, all over the entire building, placing Museveni's picture all over the place. And this is where this director of human resource, that is where her office was. You know what the lady did? She went and plucked off the posters and said, look, what you're doing is not right. You cannot put pictures all over my office, all over this government property. It's just like going to the airport and then finding pictures all over the entire airport. So the lady decided to take all the pictures down. She lost her job. They fired her. A director of human resources was fired for taking down Museveni's posters from a government building. They fired her. So Civil Aviation Authority, I wouldn't task them because it is now under the SFC, Museveni's outfit. The only people we should task are the international companies, the so-called companies that want to invest in Uganda. So if Qatar Airways has no privacy policy, then I think Ugandans, we shouldn't be using Qatar Airways. And we should be letting other individuals know, people who would be looking to use Qatar Airways to come to Uganda, that if you do that, they are going to get your information, they are going to get where you're going to stay. And we saw so many investors being killed, so many investors being kidnapped and then deported, and they take their money. Afterwards, they deport them. You ask yourself, how do these people find out? Well, they are in cahoots with the people at the airport, where they give them information and address of these people. Then these guys go out there, trail them. When they trail them, they trump up charges on them, arrest them, take their money, then deport them back out of the country. Right? So Qatar Airways should explain. If it doesn't explain, I think wherever you are listening from all over the world, just know that if you're traveling to Uganda, there are so many other options. I think you would rather take a longer route and have your privacy respected and have your information protected than taking a shorter route where they will have everything about you exposed to the world and exposed to everyone. So if you come from a different part of the country, there are so many ways to get into Uganda. But 2 aircrafts, as per now, as we speak, until they make a statement, 2 aircrafts, be very careful when you're boarding them. The first one is Qatar Airways. The other one is Uganda Airlines. Because these people, if they are after you, they will make sure that they get everything that has to deal with you. And you know what privacy means. If you do not care about your privacy, that is also another issue for another day. So we also see that these people took pictures, of the kids and all this kind of thing, meaning that they were trailed, they were spied. We know Museveni has so many spies all over the place. Whenever you go back home, they have to always search you. They have to always, ask you so many questions, this and that. But lastly, this is not the Uganda we want to live in, where people have to send their families outside whenever an election comes up. It's not the Uganda we have to live in, where we all have to be on eggshells, moving on eggshells all the time, that, oh my God, this is now going to happen. People are all frightened, It's not the Uganda we want. We want a Uganda where elections are free and fair, where there is no intimidation and harassment of voters, where everyone is free to go and vote for their candidate, regardless of anything. But now, because the state has nothing to tell Ugandans, the best thing they can tell them is, oh, look here, even Bobi Wines' children have fled the country. So that is the policies that they are telling Ugandans. They have left the country. Nothing. They have nothing else to tell the people. They cannot even explain their own deaths. Zebra Mando's death, they cannot explain it. They cannot explain the harassment of their own supporters. So, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you take the message serious, and please endeavor to follow up on Qatar Airways on Twitter, Facebook, and try to tell them why are they sharing private information. If you can, also reach out to the Civil Aviation Authority of Uganda as well as Uganda Airlines, because what they did is actually much bigger than what you actually think it is, especially in breach of privacy of individuals. If they had just taken pictures, well, that's understandable. But if you get information about these people and everything, man, that is so deadly for Uganda. That is so deadly for investors. Okay, have a great day. Subscribe to the channel, and bye-bye. Actually much bigger than what you actually think it is, especially in breach of privacy of individuals. If they had just taken pictures, well, that's understandable. But if you get information about these people and everything, man, that is so deadly for Uganda. That is so deadly for investors. Okay, have a great day. Subscribe to the channel, and bye-bye.